feel like I should be playing the piano.
Hi.
Hello. Hi.
Hi, everyone. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
We're good.
Wagon bus.
We're on the BC bus now. Woo!
Yeah, baby. Biden Harris, get on board. Come on.
Making history, women making history. I'm gonna get the
Making
t-shirt and I'm gonna wear it every day.
I know my daughter Bella, who is not here right now, was very excited to find out that it was a girl that would be potentially our vice president.
Yes.
Just got a little verklempt thinking about it. But yes, I'm trying to quell my enthusiasm because I've been burned. So, anyway, but it's very, very, very exciting. And she's from Oakland, which is literally 12 miles west of us. So, which is very exciting.
So exciting. Yeah, a lot of history today.
Oh, it's the feeling of having good, positive news about anything during Corona and all of the crises of our administration and the government. Oh, it just makes me happy to have just this much happiness. Just
a little relief.
A tablespoon, 1 tablespoon of relief.
A tablespoon of relief.
Please.
But yeah, so that made my day today.
Great. Very exciting. I was returning a bedspread when I heard, and I was like, woo!
Gabriella called me and she squealed and I couldn't understand her. She was like, I'm like, oh my God.
That's so funny.
So great. She was well, I have to admit, I was a K-hiver, so I'm really excited.
I was too in the early days, which is exciting. It was, I think it's sort of whittled down to her for lots of reasons. I've been listening to this great podcast. I'm sure many of you know Pod Save America. One of the spinoffs of it is a woman, sadly, whose name escapes me, but she has been part of the vetting team for about the last 3 or 4 vice presidential candidates. And she tells all the stories about all the clandestine things they had to do to get the candidate to meet the VP candidate and hide in the alleyways and tell them to wear baseball caps and all this crazy stuff so that people would recognize them and the press wouldn't speculate. But it's a fascinating listen. And she actually said, Kamala had the best chance because she'd already been, the vetting process is so robust that because she had run for president, that's a completely separate and more extensive vetting process than for Senate, which of course she's a senator here in California. So so that already put her close to the top just because that was that much less work they had to do. Anyway. Yeah. But we could go on for
Yes, we could, but we're going to make herb tomato soup today.
Well, we are cooking today. Oh, yeah, that's what we're doing. What are we doing? We're cooking. So as you can see, hopefully, these are
beauties.
These incredible heirloom tomatoes. This is from our farmer's market here in Moraga, and this is from a local farm that's actually just a few miles from my house.
Oh,
so they're gorgeous. So some of these, I know the names of some of these. I know this is a brandy wine. I think this is this is yellow on the top and red on the back.
Yeah.
When you cut it through, it looks like an ombre effect. It's really neat. And they're all just, I love the shape of this one. Isn't that cute?
Yeah. Almost a tomato. That's absolute classic.
Sweet. So if you grow heirlooms
in there?
I don't, well, these guys are sort of a purple.
Yeah,
sort of
those. Yeah. Yep. They're so pretty.
But if you grow heirlooms, you know that it is a labor of love because you can have one big, beautiful plant and you may get 5 or 6. So if you love tomatoes, and you don't have a lot of space, heirlooms may not be the best because you really have to sort of savor them. But if you want more quantity, you can do the Romas. the variety for sauces is San Marzano, which is an Italian variety, which is nice and thick and pasty and great for marinara. But these guys are nice and big. They're super ripe, so they're ready to go. So I know all of you out there, if you're not growing your own, go to your farmer's market, your grocery store. Everybody has.
Yeah, they're everywhere. We're everywhere now.
Season. It's total tomato season right now.
Tomato City. So today we're going to do a tomato soup from scratch.
Yum.
Not as easy as opening up a can of Campbell's, but it's darn close. So we're gonna add some herbs today too. Of course, we have to have herbs. So basil, which is the natural pairing. Tomato. I'm adding savory, which is the summer savory, which is in the thyme family. It's used a lot in French cooking. It's yummy. I have a little bit of oregano, and the oregano is flowering right now. See the little white flowers?
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So a lot of people ask me what's the difference when they're growing between oregano and marjoram, because they look very similar. And a lot of times nurseries will even get them confused because unless they're flowering, it's almost impossible to tell. And the smell and scent is very similar. Marjoram is definitely a little less pungent, but oregano flowers are white. Marjoram are light pink. So that's how you know.
Okay.
I also threw in a few marigolds just because they're so pretty and sunny today. So we're going to use a little bit of those to sprinkle.
Pretty.
Okay.
Sunshine.
The other thing we're going to do today is we're using sweet onions. There's Vidalia, there's Maui. Those are going to help to cut some of the acid in the tomato. You can, if you want, add a teaspoon of honey to this, or as my mom does, a teaspoon of the fig jam. Or you can even add a little bit of sugar. I think these onions are going to be sweet enough that we don't have to. But you can, once you taste it, you can decide that. Yeah. What else do we have? We're going to put a tiny bit of tomato paste. There's a really cute video going around now from the pasta mamas. Have you ever seen those ladies in Italy on Instagram? It's all these grandmas. It's pasta mamas.
Nanas. I think they're the
pasta nanas.
I want to just go hang out with them. But so they make the tomato paste and they basically put it on these wooden slats. They crush the tomatoes, put them on these wooden slats on their roof, and just slam it with their hands and let it kind of dry out until it gets this sort of tomato paste consistency. And I was like, oh, well, that's how they do it in Italy.
Maybe we should do that. Should we do that? Take out our version?
We can. Okay. I'm just going to do a 2x4 out of the garden, and we'll just. Maybe we could do it in the greenhouse. Anyway, all right. I don't need another project.
They don't have any bugs. They don't have ants. Oh my God, ants!
It's protein. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm not going to question them. They'll come after you. They
with a wooden spoon.
There might be a couple of ants in there. I'm afraid. I'm just saying.
Hey, okay. What's a few ants?
Protein.
It's protein. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to have to prep these tomatoes. So I was actually going to test this and see if I could really tell the difference and do some tomatoes without peeling them and without de-seeding them and cook them down and make the soup and blend it and then make it while peeling, seeding, and doing all the work and see how much the difference is. Because everybody says you have to do it. I've always done it. That's the way my grandmother did it. But, sometimes I just wonder. I really do. Okay. So this is how my grandmother used to do this. She'd take your tomato, and then she'd make an X on the bottom, okay, with your knife. Mm-hmm. So make sure you cut through the skin. Okay, see the X on there? And then she'd plop it. I'm going to not plop. I'm going to, since the water's already boiling, I'm going to take my tongs, and I'm going to put it in a pot of boiling hot water just for about 30 seconds or a minute. So I'm going to do this to a couple tomatoes real quick.
That makes the skin slide right off.
This is going to make it super easy to peel off the skin.
Skin shock.
We don't have to do all of these because I overbought. Surprise.
I know, right? That's Italian too.
For me. So we're going to let those just boil for about a minute. It's pretty hot already.
Is the water actually boiling, Holly, or is it just hot?
Yeah, I started it earlier, so it's at a rapid boil. Okay. So while that's doing its thing, I'm going to cut the onions. The onions are going to go in a saucepan, And you can use butter or olive oil. Of course, I usually use olive oil, but I have to say, this kind of tastes a little better. It makes the sauce a little richer since we don't have any dairy in this. You know, a lot of people do a creamy.
Don't listen, Lisa.
A creamy tomato, so they'll add sour cream or
I'm on the cleanse right now, Holly. So you're just making me die right now.
well, all of this well, what can't you have?
You can't have the butter.
No dairy, no salt.
No. Can you have tomatoes?
Yes, I can have tomatoes. I'm making spaghetti squash tonight for dinner.
You know, you could make this with that. Can you do some of the butter substitutes? No. Nothing?
Nothing.
She can have oil, but not cooked.
Yeah, I can have olive oil, but it has to be drizzled on after it cooks.
Well, we're going to use 3 tablespoons of butter.
Yay!
So this is a little, this is a little.
Thankfully, this is just for a week. It's not a lifestyle. So,
Oh,
there it goes. Yeah,
And
butter.
did you hear the clunk into the pan?
Oh, butter. I love butter so much.
There's a lot to love about butter, I have to say. And then I'm using, they had this great German brand in the store, but they stopped carrying it. That was grass-fed butter. And so I've got the Kerrygold as a good second choice because it's also grass-fed. Seamus's favorite, Lisa's son.
Kerrygold. You can do it with the perfect Irish accent.
The Kerrygold.
Okay, so here we want to know is, can she make it and freeze it for after the cleansing? Can you freeze this soup?
You know, I'm not a huge freezer. I don't know. I've never frozen tomatoes.
Oh, well.
But I would imagine you could. Give it a try.
I freeze tomatoes, so yeah.
Just don't wait too long.
I definitely freeze tomatoes.
I freeze my
onions. So I'm putting butter right now. Okay, and they're just going to get down to they're translucent. Because once this is all done, we're going to put this in the Cuisinart.
Okay.
But you don't have to either. Let's see what the consistency looks like once we get this stored here. Okay, so we're going to take our tomatoes out. As you can see, they're already starting to peel. Can you see that?
Yeah. Well, we can't, but I know what you mean.
Well, it always helps to do the
Look.
That's the
They're nice.
Extreme close.
The genius move on Nana's part.
I can't tell you how many times we watched her do this. And you know, it's funny. Because she used to make like a marinara tomato sauce that she called Spanish sauce, and we could never figure out why it was called Spanish sauce.
She called it Spanish sauce. We were like,
why?
And I think
nobody knows.
Her father, who basically was part of the Austro-Hungarian Navy, stopped in a lot of different ports and had different stops. And so we think somewhere maybe in Spain or maybe a Spanish-speaking country, he did spend time in Mexico, that somehow he learned this recipe. So for her marinara. And she did use, she used green bell peppers, which you don't normally use in marinara. Oh. So still a bit of a mystery. Okay. Right, that's okay. So see how we really got these tomatoes. If I'm just using my tongs, I wonder if you can see this here. Whoops, other way. There we go.
And you're just peeling them?
And I'm just peeling back with the tongs.
Yeah, you can see the skin go.
It's so easy.
Beautiful. So simple.
Yeah, you can wait a little bit till they cool off. That's okay. But since I don't have the magic of television right now to have previously prepared this, we're just going to go.
No one does. It's COVID.
Right, exactly.
It's okay. Everyone's forgiving.
Okay.
I know. She did. She said she doesn't freeze things. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it.
It's not that I don't freeze anything. I generally, well, I have 2 kids, so they eat everything. I never have any, and I always make a lot, but everything and my husband can eat too. So we usually just go through it.
What's that line in My Big Fat Greek Wedding when she goes, and I'm in a family of Greek eating machines or whatever she said.
We're breeders and eaters, or what?
Breeders and eaters, and we just eat and then eat again. Like, it's so funny that one.
That's pretty much my family.
We're just eating and eating.
We're eating and eating, and we never stop eating.
And we're constantly in each other's business, and we're eating and we're eating.
Right. So
okay. So I'm just cutting these up and getting as many. The good news with some of these heirlooms, this has very few seeds in it. So I'm going to go ahead as I'm going, plop these in the water.
I had my first ones today in the garden when I was out watering. There were a few little ones, and I ate them.
Look at the color on this. I got to show
my
you.
husband.
I have 4 heirlooms that I got yesterday at Whole Foods, and they're going to be with
Can you see the color on that? How pretty that is.
Yeah, they're gorgeous. I love those.
So this will make a beautiful soup. Okay. So we're just gonna. So now everything's actually, this is pretty cooled off. So you want to try to get as many seeds out as you can. Like I said, the beauty of the heirloom is there's not a ton of seeds in here, although this purple one has quite a few. So just get out as many as you can. Chop them up.
Now,
this is about 1.5 pounds.
Couldn't you do it and strain them out later? Couldn't you just strain the seeds out later?
You could. I think we're because we're going to do a soup. We don't. It's okay that we've got the liquid. If you could, the cutting board right now is pretty wet. I mean, I've got quite a lot of water in here. We're also going to add some.
So what was in the pot? You have boiling water in there that you're adding the tomatoes to?
No, I moved it. So this is the butter and the onions now.
That's the onion
pot.
Correct.
Okay.
So this is you're going to use about 1.5 pounds of tomato flesh. That's going to go in to your butter and onion. That once the the onions get translucent, then you can go ahead and plop your tomatoes in. Okay, so that's that. That is one. That's messy. Hold on.
And you didn't put any garlic in, just onion, correct?
I didn't. So this is a little more. I'm doing this a little more herb. The garlic is a little. It's going to compete. I just didn't want too much because I think this is. If you use really good tomatoes, you kind of want to let them shine, right? But you could definitely add a little garlic. In fact, I thought about that when I was making it. Okay, so this is gonna cook down this tomato, and can you see it now?
Yep.
Tomato and onion. So this is we're gonna put this on high heat and really let those tomatoes cook down. Because remember, we only kind of flash cook them in that hot water to get the skins off. So the inside's still pretty raw. Okay. So we've got the onion, tomatoes. Okay, we're gonna let this. Oh, oops! I have a whole half a tomato here. Hold on.
What?
What are you doing?
Don't forget the tomato.
I'm gonna move this bowl. Yeah, you can't be shy when you're doing this. It's a messy business, but it'll be worth it. I promise.
Yes, you were smart to wear a red shirt.
That's why we're red today. Okay, so we're gonna put this in compost.
Or as everyone knows, that's a great thing for my freezer bag for the soup.
Or in your freezer bag for soup. Or I have goats, and I usually huck things over the fence to them.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Okay. So that's okay. So now we clean up our workstation. So what we're going to do is we're going to get
your goats someday.
I know. We should go see him. Okay. So I'm going to clean cutting board here. Next, we're going to add. Watch this. A tablespoon.
A measuring spoon
of tomato paste. This is just going to give us some concentrated tomato flavor. So we're going to put that in and mix it around.
See how easy that was? You didn't even have to go to the roof to get it.
I did. And then we're going to use let's say a half a teaspoon of Hollie. Today's Hollie's homegrown salt is basil and pepper. So a little sweet bell pepper and basil. We're going to put that in there.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
We're going to do a little bit of black pepper. Two of those. Is that a measurement? 1, 2.
That's a measurement for sure.
That counts. So we're going to this still needs to cook down a little bit, these tomatoes, because you really want them to get pretty mushy. So while they're doing that, you can't have, sorry, Lisa, this is going to get worse for you. You can't have tomato soup without a little bread. So this is what those Italian ladies will do if you get in their way. They'll just start. So
I've been chased by many an item in my day.
So we're gonna make little Parmesan herb, and I'm gonna use butter, not olive oil, just because we've got butter in the soup, and why not? Okay. We're gonna cut these into little rounds.
Around my house a lot.
So a tip too is when you're cutting a baguette, cut it this way. Use a serrated knife. Don't cut your fingers off. Hold it down so your hand has some room, and then you.
How's your finger, Lisa?
Then you make these nice little rounds. Okay.
Oh, yay. Okay.
And then that way, these will, I already have the broiler on. These just go on the broiler. You don't want them to get too hard. This is a fresh baguette, and it doesn't need any more than that. So we're going to put these on a baking sheet.
Okay.
Okay. Which I just so happen to have one right here.
Oh, handy dandy. Oh, I'm sure your handy assistant left that for you.
My handy assistants started school today, distance learning, and it's been a bit of a difficult transition. And that's the nicest thing I can say about it. I feel all these parents out there, gosh, it's a lot. It's kind of stressful, but we're getting through it. All right, so we're gonna put those aside. We're gonna make the butter for those. Let's see, how are my tomatoes doing? Oh, good. Okay, so they're really getting nice and squishy. Okay, now we're going to add, there's 2 cups of chicken broth. And do less sodium if you can, because we've already added the salt. So do 2 cups of this.
No salt.
Oh, this is going to be a really pretty color because of those lighter tomatoes. Okay. All right. So that's
orange. It's going to be orangey red.
That what?
Like an orangey red sunset.
Yeah, it's going to be sort of a sunset. Let me get my knife. Okay. It's my good Japanese knife. Okay. So we're going to cut the herbs and have those ready. So the rule of thumb for adding herbs to your, especially things like soup, dried herbs, you want to add early in the cooking because they need time to reconstitute and release their flavors. Fresh herbs you want to add at the end, because otherwise they'll boil out and all their flavor, you'll lose all their flavor. So I'm going to take about 10 basil leaves and I'm going to chop them pretty finely because we're going to make this butter. So you want to try to really get them.
Basil butter.
Well, I'm going to add a couple more things to this butter too. Well, we're going to add
5 more days, Lisa. 5 more days.
So this, so the other thing is this is French thyme. So French thyme is a little different than English. It's a little less pungent. It's lovely. So I forgot I pulled this one. This is, it smells so good. So we're going to take a couple of those, throw that in there. Oh, I forgot. I've got some dill flowers too. Aren't these sweet, the little ones?
I like the dill flowers.
They're really sweet.
So we're going to save the dill flowers and the marigolds for the garnish. And we're going to put a little bit of oregano flower in there, and those will just kind of float around and taste good and be pretty. So it's a bit of an herb blend. So today we've got, this will have dill, basil, oregano, and a little French thyme. That ought to do it. So really give it a good chop, super fine. Because you don't want to take a big bite out of, well, you might want to. I would, but most people don't want to take a big bite out of an herb. Okay. And I do need a bowl.
Now, have you tried that?
Right here. This must be my kitchen. Okay.
Have you tried that cashew butter?
I do have butter.
It's a white butter. It looks like goat butter, but it's made with cashews.
Really? So we're going to take, this is about 2 tablespoons of butter, and we're going to put it in our ramekin, and then we're going to throw our herbs in that are freshly cut here. Can you see that?
Yep.
And we're just going to take our fork. We're going to press it down. This stuff is pretty soft. It's been on my counter. And then we're just going to mix it with a fork, kind of squish it. So it gets a nice.
That's the technical term.
You swish.
Squish.
The thing about herb butter is that this can last for quite a long time. This can be frozen. It's actually really nice frozen. And normally I'd put a pinch of salt, but because we're going to be using Parmesan, it's already really salty. So I don't think we need any more salt. I think we're good. Okay, so there is your herb butter. Can you see it?
Beautiful. Yeah, so you can use that on fish and rice and all kinds of things.
You want a little rich herb flavor. It's really a nice thing. So we're going to take our little rounds that we did, your knife. We're going to give them a little bit of this butter. Just, and then I'll do that.
A schmear might be a technical
a little,
little
yeah. And then I'm going to put the parm on top so it browns. So let's get these. Oh my God, my kids aren't here, but they are going to eat these up in 2 seconds. And these are nice too to serve, gosh, on the side of anything. If if you're looking for a carb, if you're looking for carbs, you found one.
Don't say looking for carbs.
Carbs seem to find me. I don't go looking for them. They find me. Okay.
I'm like dizzy right now at the thought of what that tastes like because I haven't had any in like 2.5 days.
Okay, then we're going to get our Parmesan, which is over here. Let's about to get it.
Oh, look at the cord.
Yeah, don't mind that. You didn't see
Don't
that.
mind that.
That was not there. And because this is Corona Kitchen, I have some I already grated in here. We're just going to sprinkle a little bit of this on the tops.
It's a proper
smearing off. That would be nice.
And that's it.
I don't think that's on your diet either.
I know, Lisa. I'm sorry. So these are our little toasted herb. So these will literally, I'm not exaggerating, cook in 30 seconds under the broiler. So just put them in, watch them. In fact, you can even, some cooks, they keep the door oven a little bit open while they're broiling because it's going to cook 15, 20 seconds. Okay, so our tomato soup is, oh, wow, look at it now. Okay, perfect, done. So what's interesting is the consistency is now, I guess you do want to blend it. I wouldn't, that doesn't look as appetizing, I think, is when it gets creamy. All right, we're going to blend it.
You mean like maybe not put it in the Cuisinart?
I think if you really cut up the tomatoes in super small pieces and the onion, you could just have it look a little like a fresher kind of thing, but I think it'll be better in the blender. I'm going to use the Cuisinart today, not the blender, because I think I want it to have some texture. The problem with the blender is it can really turn into kind of baby food. So you could also put this through a rice mill.
A food mill, yeah.
Food mill. That's good too. I'm going to get the ladle.
And the thing about, we have to be careful with hot stuff in the blender. So
we do, and that's why we're going to take our time. You guys, can you see how pretty this is? Look at the color.
Oh, nice.
It's beautiful. Beautiful.
So I have branded, so we can go directly on there, and then we're just going to put this in, and this will probably take I
might do that. Use a stick blender in the pot. I would do that.
Blender's a great idea.
Yep.
Mine's broken, so we can't use it. Okay.
I just got a new one. I'm so excited. I had one for, 25 years, and it finally just went.
Okay, so it's in the Cuisinart. We're going to pulse it, and we're going to see what it looks like.
Oh, she's getting a facial.
Okay, a little bit more, not too much. Again, it doesn't really need it. You just want to kind of break up those big chunks. So maybe 10 or 15 pulses. All right, and let's get the bowl here.
Yeah, I love my immersion blender.
They're very handy.
I have to be careful with that though too. Boy, I've had those splatter.
Put this in here.
If you like to make soup, you have to get an immersion blender. I mean, they're
Aren't you coming off? Oh,
be careful.
not close. Hello.
That's a big blade.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're gonna pour this in here. Then we're gonna do the next batch. Because you want the thing when you're doing hot, you have to be really careful of is not to overfill it.
Yeah.
Because the steam will put some pressure in there, and you can have a real mess. I have made that mistake before.
I have too.
Yep.
Okay.
And with the blender when it just explodes all over the place.
Yeah. Yeah, you really have to be careful with heat in those things.
Okay, so we're gonna give this one a couple.
And how many is this going to feed, Holly?
This should be 4 to 6. I mean, it depends. If you want this to be your main meal, definitely 4.
Okay.
If you're going to do something with it, you could do easily 6 servings.
Okay.
And this is a type of recipe you can double, triple, for an imaginary party that you'll be having for people at your house. Okay,
Your imaginary
back in the pot because I'm just going to keep it here for now, and then I'll heat it up when my kids are back at home. Oh, that looks good.
Yeah.
So that is a big mess, and is tomato soup. But we gotta taste it. I gotta taste it. I might as well use one of these things. Because
Yeah, why not? It's a spoon.
Spoon.
Oh, that's good. There's a little more pepper.
There is nothing like fresh tomatoes.
Okay, I just wanted to point out you just channeled our Nana just now when you said, "Oh, like that's exactly."
Oh, no.
Exactly.
You can put in. I'll when I post the picture, I'll have the herb garnish on it. But you can also put some herbs in. The same herbs that we put in the butter, you can throw in. So it's up to you.
Yeah.
Cool. Delicious.
Ta-da!
Summer goodness.
It is. And this will be really pretty on it. The little marigolds.
Nice.
Sure.
Well, everybody should make tomato soup. I mean, come on. When the tomatoes are out, that's the natural.
And put this in your mason jar and put it in the fridge once it cools off, and you can eat it all summer long.
Yeah, baby.
Batches of it. So this is a great. It's a great.
Cold, you might maybe want to add that Smirnoff and make a Bloody Mary.
Yes.
And
then
a
you
little
want to add some horseradish, a little Tabasco.
Yeah.
That's good. But that's it. That's what we have for today. So I'm going to toast these, and I'll plate it so that way everybody can see what the final product looks like. But that's it. I mean, it's fast, but it's messy. Just know that you're just going to make a big mess of it, and you'll clean it up. That's all right.
Yeah,
It's worth it.
All good.
It's so worth it.
Good.
And it's so much better homemade.
Oh yeah.
You'll never go back to Campbell's.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Holly. Holly, everyone at hollieshomegrown.com.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yay.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's it we got. So yeah, everybody, and if you want to buy us a cuppa, you know where to go. ko-fi.com. We would so appreciate it. And also subscribe on our YouTube channel. That also helps us a lot.
Yes.
Yay. And anything else we need to remind people of? I don't think so.
We had the photo contest yesterday. Check it out if you didn't get to see the winning photo from last week. There was some amazing food this week.
Oh my God, they're getting better and better. I'm just amazed.
I know.
I'm stunned.
And Friday we have a guest bartendress.
Yes, we do. And she knows what she's doing.
Unlike us. So she should have a good cocktail for you guys on Friday.
It's going to be tasty.
Exciting.
Anyway, we're so happy that we could share the historical day of Kamala Harris being chosen for the VP candidate with you.
Hooray.
Woman Power Show. So it's so great on that.
Yes. We are excited and raring to go, people.
Get on the train. Follow by.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Yeah. Okay. Well, fancy dancy me. Watch me play us out. Thank you so much, Holly. That was
guys.
great.
We love you. Stay warm, everybody.
Love you.